Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of this podcast series called Plated Stories. Today, again, our focus is on the Northeast. We have with us Hoihnu Hauzel, who's become like the ambassador for the Northeast in Delhi, having written the first Northeast cuisine cookbook in the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, first in 2004.
2004.
And then the second one in 2014.
Wow. Okay. So 2004, 2014. So she has written two cookbooks focused on Northeast cuisine already. And there are many more. We'll be talking about it. And then we have Gagandeep Singh Bedi, who's the corporate Director-Culinary for the Roseate Hotels and Resorts. He comes with a very interesting story. I won't disclose it now, but we'll talk about it. And the reason, why do we have a Sardar in a conversation on the Northeast? We'll find out soon. And of course, we have Vishal Sinha, who's our founder CEO of We the Chefs. And we are here at our new haunt. It's our third haunt, actually. You have seen us at the We the Chefs Experiential Center in Gurgaon. You have seen us at the Palm Springs Residence Club in Gurgaon again. Now we are in New Delhi at Panchsheel Park, where we have just opened an experience center where art meets food. Vishal, maybe we'll talk a little bit about this center while we talk about the Northeast. Hoihnu, first, I must thank you for the lovely shawl that you presented to me. And this shawl comes with a story, the story about your community, the Paitai community. Yeah? And you're also wearing a typical Manipuri dress. And behind us, you'll find some Manipuri costume jewelry, trinkets. Can you explain what's the significance of the shawl?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, We the Chef, for, really spotlighting the Northeast. It's easy to forget, it's easy to overlook because there's a lot of profusion of cuisine, and thank you for always chasing it. And the story of shawls in the Northeast, shawls are the souls of the Northeast. They are something that are woven with love. Every thread has a story. For instance, this one, the green, the white, the color, the profusion of colors, they stand for something else. And when we give shawl to somebody, it is really with a message to say that, we respect you, you're dear to us. So it's given with affection, with respect. It stands for all of those. And I wrapped the shawl around you this morning because it just dawned on me that you have been a very important part of my formative years as a journalist. Just not me. All of us young people, we came from different parts of India, Bhopal, Bihar. I think it was a very elective crowd when I look at that. And it's easy to take it for granted that, okay, we would just do well. You were really shaping us. And yesterday, when I thought about it, I said, I have not given you dreams, so therefore I must wrap the shawl around. It's really to say that thank you. I respect you. You're important, and I acknowledge whatever you've done in our life. So that's really the mark of it.
Thank you so much, Hoihnu. It means a lot coming from you. From Manipur, let's move to Nagaland. And the reason I'm looking at Chef Gagandeep is that, he grew up, he was born in Jalandhar, grew up in Delhi, studied in Kufri near Shimla, one of the most beautiful spots in India. But then love took him to Nagaland. So he's married to a Naga lady who used to work in the hotel industry before she decided to become a full-time mother. So, Gagan, tell us about your discovery of Northeast through your wife. And, maybe you can also give an idea of the complexity of Northeastern societies because of this many, tribal affiliations of the people there.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. It means a lot for me, sitting here. Warm welcome from your side, We the Chefs. So especially, this topic is very close to my heart, as my wife comes from the Nagaland part of the country. I'll talk a bit about our story, how it happened. So we were together, of course, as you said, she was also in hospitality. She used to take care of the sales part, and I was a banqueting chef that time. So you understand sales and banqueting. She used to sell events, and I used to make menus. So that is a story where it all started.
But sales and the sales and chefs never get along. It's like journalists and sales guys never get along. So how did you get along?
So that is how, where there is no war, you always have a soft corner of love also popping up. So I think there it all started. It's a good story. We all dated for a couple of years before we get married. Now this month we have completed 10 years of our marriage.
Wow.
With beautiful twins. They are also 2 years old now, happily married. So initially it was a struggle for both the sides, understanding the culture, the food, of course. Knowing each other, especially from our parents' point of view, it was not easy. But eventually, they are also understood that we are deeply in love with each other, and then there are no points of separating them or being very rigid. We did marriage.
So love overcame all kinds of obstacles,
So it was more of a love than the cultures and then the food. So we did marriage both ways, a Sikh style and then also the Naga style of their tribes. It was great fun.
She comes from Dimapur.
Yes.
And she's from two different tribes. I mean, her mother is of one tribe and the father is of another.
Father is from Lotha tribe.
Right.
And then mother is a Sumi, Sema actually. So yeah, she's also a cocktail of of two tribes, and then but yeah, that's how she also understands different cultures. So of course it was not easy, as I said, understanding food, especially when I went there quietly without telling anyone to meet their parents. Especially they had a imagination of she talking over the phone that I love a Sardar guy, and then being a Sikh. So my mother-in-law was totally rigid. Sardar, for her imagination was you must be a big bearded guy, strong build, and they're all also like warriors. How people probably understand Sikhs being, but when I met her first time, so she was she was very fine, and then she understands. So I personally am a very soft personality, so she loves the way I am, and then So and talking about the food, of course, although I knew that what is the cuisine all about since we dated for a couple of years, and then she took me to a couple of great Naga restaurants in Delhi and around, and then of course, but the real food started when I visited there, and then the smell you get to hit when you enter a Naga home. Every house, whether it's a middle class or high class, they'll have a smokehouse at their home. They'll smoke their meats. You'll have the smell of the dried fish, smoked meats, the cook of the bamboo shoot and the nakhuni. So all those was
right now.
I love it now. I love it now. Of course, no. So
he is such an authority on this.
Wow.
There was this Naga chef Akutali, who came, sometime back to the Roseate House in Delhi. Again, the Roseate House is doing great stuff, promoting different cuisines of different regions. And she spoke, of course, but he knew everything by heart. He knew about every leaf and herb and spice that was there, So, Vishal, that brings me to you, talking about We the Chefs. And I think what we are seeing in We the Chefs is that we are becoming like a repository of a lot of different cuisines, different cultures, and a lot of the recipes that we are promoting through our events and other activities, they are actually the family legacies, they're heirloom recipes. So, can you talk a little bit about the We the Chef's journey, and also how have you brought in elements of, Northeastern cuisine, the Northeastern kitchens to our table?
I think the whole idea when we started on We the Chef was largely driven around the fact that it was more to introduce people to different kind of cuisines, right? What I did realize after moving back to India and being here for 6 years was that everything sort of tasted the same in most or 90% of the restaurants. How do we create something different? And that's when I realized, pretty much discovered the world of home chefs. right? And the kind of variety they had, the different kind of food they had. I would say they're lost recipes, but probably things which people were not aware of,
Really?
right? So it was more in terms of introducing people to different kind of cuisines. As a kid, I stayed in Shillong, but that was when I was 1 and 2 years old, right, for 2 years. So for me, introduction to the sort of the northeastern food was done by Hoihnu sitting over here.
Oh, really?
So she was our first northeastern home chef that we had spoken to, and she had done a meal for us, which was absolutely fabulous. And I was introduced to Hoihnu by a common friend, and he was raving about her food. So that's how we got introduced. And post that, there was no looking back, right? Because I have thoroughly enjoyed the food. And it's more in terms of the flavors, the variety, the way it's cooked. Every state has a different way of looking at it. And the whole idea of We the Chef was largely to bring the chefs closer to the community, right? To our community in terms of people being able to understand what food is all about. It was just not about Northeast, it was about cuisines from all across India.
And also, if, for instance, last year we did a big event with Royal Enfield, and where in fact Chef Joel Basumutari again from Dimapur, he had come. So how did you sort of bring that whole thing together? It was a very big, 600 people dined, 750 people dined that evening, and the chef worked for 3 days with us at We the Chefs at a facilitation center in Gurgaon. Can you rewind those days?
Possible because of the fact that Hoihnu helped us in terms of understanding the cuisines, in terms of making us understand how combinations work, introducing us to the chefs over there, right, and then getting in over here. Then it was more in terms of the logistical stuff which we managed, but the introduction, the curation of the menu, what would work in this market, what are the things which people would like, was something which we sat with Hoihnu and the Royal Enfield team to be able to understand how would that work.
Right.
So more, Hoihnu has given you a shawl as a mark of respect, saying, you helped her in journalism. I need to get a similar shawl from somewhere in Bihar if they have a concept to say, here you go. Mark of respect for introducing you to this cuisine.
Yeah, that was a very big and well, executed event. In fact, that brings me to Hoihnu. Hoihnu, you're, of course, as I keep saying that you're the ambassador of the entire Northeastern, but the entire Northeast is not just one homogeneous sort of entity. It is 8 states, many tribes, many dialects, many distinct cultures. So you are now working on a book, I believe, or we have discussed it, where you sort of see this diversity and this depth of culinary cultures through the eyes of people living in Northeast. Can you talk a bit about this project of yours?
Yeah. So, if since you insist, I'll talk about a project that I'm currently working on. I feel, the book that I've done is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to a Northeast. So much is undiscovered, so many cuisine. We have healing herbs, we have plants and things. Isn't it, Chef? You would know as you've been traveling inside. So one of the projects that I'm doing is looking at the Northeast through the eye of a prominent, a foodie individual. For instance, maybe I could just talk about a recent trip that I did in Shillong, where I was invited by the Shillong Lit Fest. I went to Patricia Mikin, a very prominent journalist from Shillong. She would be featured in one of the projects. So I want to look at Meghalaya through the eyes of Patricia for many reasons. One, of course, she's very prominent. She's a foodie. Her garden has different kinds of herbs and trees and vegetables, and she is somebody who opens her home to anybody who visits in the North Shillong. Anyone, be it a diplomat, a film star, a policymaker, a government official, or even celebrities, they would not go home without having dined at her home. So she opens a house to her. It's not commercial, but it's just so happened that she does it.
Patricia Mukim, if I'm not mistaken, also runs a magazine.
She is the editor of Shillong Times.
Shillong Times, right.
Voice, yes.
Yeah.
So she's also a foodie. The other side of her is a foodie.
Okay.
And people who love food are always very good people.
And yeah, sort of also people who love good food always flock together. Isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very important common binding thread.
Yeah.
So I went to her house. Her kitchen itself is like a store. I mean, it's like a huge repository of recipes and sources from different parts, because she also does a lot of experimenting. So that night, it was just me and her. She did pork chops, Northeastern style, but with sauce from different parts of Asia. And it was really, really a profusion of flavors that come together. And in the evening, we looked at the garden. The second time that I went, the garden has 3 tomatoes. The garden has rocket leaves, curry pattas. You know, also the good thing about something that's so different about Northeast is the soil. The curry patta that you get here, the leaves, are just very plain. The colors are very dull. In her garden, a curry patta, the leaves were lush green. When I broke, the aroma was just too difficult to resist. And then the 3 tomatoes, of course, they're ripe, and juicy, and very good for.
The 3 tomatoes are really, the thing to, I also think, something like a pumpkin, we laugh at pumpkins, call them kaddu, and, kaddu is the pejorative term in Hindi,
And people dismiss it, saying it's useless.
the pumpkins that come from the Northeast, and especially Nagaland, are amazingly buttery,
Flavor, yes.
And you were talking about the avocado and the pineapples. Huh?
Yeah.
The avocado you said you get for you pay how much for a kilo?
100 to 150. Again, avocado.
100 for 100 for a
You know,
kilo of avocados.
Is again not a native of the Northeast.
Yeah.
But then few years ago, there was a pilot project that happened in Mizoram, where they felt that because of the similar topography between, let's say, Vietnam and the Northeast, they started cultivating dragon fruit and avocado. So somebody got a seed and planted it, and they found that it was doing very well, which is how avocado, which was not even the food that we had as a kid, it was always considered very exotic. It is flooding the market now. Every home would have one. We have one that we left behind in our mom in Imphal. It would bear fruits. And the fruits are very buttery, and, because the soil is different. You find them in Sikkim, you find them in Shillong, Guwahati, and especially in Ukhrul in Manipur district. They're very different from what you get, the New Zealand ones. They're big,
and
but
cheaper.
doesn't have so much of flavor. This is small, pungent, and full of flavor.
And what I love about this discovery of our own heritage in terms of fruit and vegetables is like we all talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, and instead of importing these things when they're available right in a backyard, passion fruit, for instance, now we used to import passion fruit from Japan, from other Asian countries. Pomelos, I think the best pomelos are grown in Manipur, and so in fact, Churatanpur is almost like the home of pomelos today in India.
Every garden, every home.
So, chef, you have been a regular visitor to Nagaland, and your brother-in-law is a very well-known name in the world of food and, catering. So what all have you discovered in terms of fruit and vegetables and herbs and spices in Nagaland?
See, so whenever I go there, I make sure that I visit local markets out there. There's a very famous Wednesday market which happens in the local city of Dimapur, where you will find all different kinds of fruits, meats. Especially the villagers, they come from with their own produce, fresh organic produce. They just sell their small stuff, and then that's it. So they do it weekly there. So if we're talking about, you'll find some silkworms out there. You'll find some, great, shells, which they get from, fresh river, muddy waters. So even like you were talking about the pumpkin, you'll find different colors of pumpkin. And all of them have different textures. The squash, the butternut squash, which we get from France and all those places, you'll get it right there, and that's beautifully grown, and then produce. as ma'am was saying, it is all so flavorful.
Mm.
You get to taste that vegetable.
Right.
Especially, I think the cuisine is also developed in the same way. They nurture the essence of that vegetable, not overpowering with them spices and then oils.
Mm.
So you get to taste the real ingredient what you're eating in the dish. Either it is meat or vegetable, whatever it may be.
Right.
So it was.
So, you mentioned silkworms. Any dish that you know that
I tried
it's actually made with the silkworms?
It was just with the sauteed with just with the little butter.
Not
Yeah.
anything else, no?
Yeah,
Because
nothing. Yeah, it is so buttery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so just cook it on open flame, and then
Yeah.
that's it. You just and suck them. There's nothing else you
Oh,
have to
wow.
add it, and they are so buttery it will just go down in your throat. So
And then what do you call it, chef?
they are silkworms only. There's no
What do you call
certain.
dish in terms of
There's no such
There's-
name as.
just some people even steam it or cook it with ginger and garlic and they drink the soup.
Right.
And then they fry
Yeah.
because it's packed with protein and it is
Right.
very, very medicinal in terms of
Like, insects, I mean, are the richest sources of protein.
Yes.
And
Ants.
delicacy also.
Yes,
which we
Delicacy.
did have the
Yeah.
Roseate,
At Roseate House, at the Jharkhand Food Festival, So, Vishal, we the chefs has been doing it. We have been doing a lot of, promotion. Of course, we haven't promoted ants yet, but we have done a lot of promotion of unusual cuisines, unusual recipes, what are some of the things that come to your mind?
I think I'll probably, one of the things which came up in the discussion around, Hoihnu mentioned about trying out new food, trying out different combinations.
Mm.
If I look back, say 15 or 20 years ago, people were not very experimental with food, right? Because they're very fixed palates. Even if they would travel out, their whole emphasis was on having Indian food and vegetarian food and the other elements. The last 2 decades, I've seen people evolving, traveling, exploring new places, exploring new cuisines. So people have become a lot more receptive to the idea of trying out foods. And from a corporate point of view, I personally feel, and I've seen this, my experience has been, people who are experimentative with food are also open to ideas.
Of course.
Right? The minute you look at a corporate world, someone who is very stuck up with the thing, saying, I'm going to only eat this or I'm going to only eat this. One, you question the adaptability. Secondly, you question the element of being able to take a risk and do something different, thinking outside the box. So again, with We the Chef, the whole idea was to be able to do something different. It was, I would not say it was all about, changing the entire palette and changing everything was new. It was more in terms of gradually adding certain elements of a new cuisine. Right? And probably, for us, the tagline of We the Chefs is Taste the Story. So what was important was, one, the dish was important, the presentation was important, but equally important was the story behind the dish which was being done. Because that is what is interesting. And people are looking at experiences. They can get a deal anywhere else. How do we create an experience for the audience which comes in, or for people who are coming in, to be able to sort of go back and talk about it?
But like we are now in this Panchsheel Park Experience Center, it's all about art and food.
Absolutely.
That makes it stand out from a regular restaurant, any other place that you visit.
And in Japan, they say that you eat with your eyes, right? So the presentation is really important, especially with art. The minute you look at art, you like a piece of art. The minute you look at food at times, you like the way it is presented.
Right.
And the chef would be able to add a lot more thing to say, absolutely, how important is the presentation?
In fact, it's interesting you raise this issue of presentation and plating, Say Northeastern food, have you done it in a modern style?
We have, yes, actually, the one festival we did at the Roseate with Chef Aketoli, who is a well-known face in the neighbouring all over India, although he was top 30 chefs of the country. Her forte is, she makes Western influences to her local cuisine without compromising on the authenticity, of course. But she does a 20-seat restaurant there, and then all the food in the restaurant it's all plated. And talking about Roseate as a brand, we have learned a lot from all those pop-ups what we have done in the recent past with Assam, Manipur, Nagaland. So all three was well received by the audience. Especially the Manipur was very popular because the population, of course, in Delhi with the Manipur, is huge, and then it was very popular. So, Chef Nick SM was there, who has opened his restaurant in Safdarjung also.
Oh, really? Okay.
So Safdarjung also as a place is growing a lot in terms
Humayunpur,
especially, yes.
behind my
So
house.
likewise, we also focus a lot on focusing on the lesser known artisan chefs and bringing the ingredients. So like, for example, I'll talk about two ingredients which we source from Nagaland. One is the turmeric and also the second is the ginger. I think it's the purest form of the ingredient what we get. We have tied up with a farmer artisan there. Every month he sends the fresh supply, and that is the two ingredients we use in our key restaurant.
Now, Hoihnu, sort of to wind down the conversation, what do you think now should be the next step? I think in terms of awareness, there's a lot today than before. Is that awareness enough? And in terms of exposure to cuisines, because of places like Humayunpur, which has a cluster of northeast restaurants, do you think we are at a tipping point, or much more remains to be done across the country?
I think there is definitely a defining gap in terms of visibility, but visibility is not really in terms of the attention from the center. The awareness is definitely growing. I mean, few years ago, people thought it was momos. From then to now, to be able to have a discussion here, and chef told us that have had, some real food festivals showcasing Northeast. I think we have come a long way, and of course, there needs to be a lot more. The initiative and food has to be backed up with the realization that India is this vast that everybody who comes from the Northeast is not necessarily, you know what I mean, they should not be mistaken as somebody else who's not an Indian, with due respect to every nationality and all of those. So I think the food initiative has to be backed up with a greater acknowledgement and understanding that India is very vast. In this part of the world, we have people who come from the Northeast. So I think that has to be a very simultaneous and holistic work that we have to carry. It's just not this department. Many other sectors will also have to work along. And I'm very happy that it has come this far. I think the next step is, of course, you have curated a lot of reels. Along with that, also a bit of the culture. For instance, if we could do a Nagaland evening and then showcase Nagaland, and then similarly Tripura, then Manipur and Mizoram. So I think just going beyond the table, but a bit of an introduction to what are the tribes, why do we eat what we eat. For instance, if we look at the food, Chef did mention that, there are lots of different variety. There's always a very interesting thing. If we eat, let's say, a very spicy pork dish, there is something to neutralize it, maybe a boiled food, isn't it? So that's something that goes hand in hand.
It's very interesting how there'd be the chutney and the boil.
The chutney. So all of those will be very nice in greater detail. And of course, there will be just different steps that will follow.
Chef, one last word, Hoihnu just talked about the diversity. In your wife's family, her parents come from two different tribes of Nagaland. And you were saying that they cook in different styles.
Right.
Can you mention one dish which is cooked absolutely differently? Say pork, how would it be cooked in her father's family?
And
the Sema tribes.
So Lotha are known to be, they use a lot of bamboo shoots in their cuisine, whether it's fresh, fermented or dried also. So one of my favorite dishes, again, that smoked pork with bamboo shoots, which is a fermented form. And then, and if you talk about my mother-in-law family, which is from a Sema Sumi tribe, they cook akuni is one of the prominent ingredients what they use in their cuisine. And
akuni is fermented soybeans.
Yes, please. But one of my favorite dish is from an Ao community, which is anishi. That's actually yam leaves. They make dry it and then make cakes out of it.
Like patrail. Somewhat like a patrail,
Yes, please. And then they do it during the season, and stays throughout the year. You put some amount of cake to a pork curry. It turns really dark black color, but it's so flavorful. So my wife talks about that you like some other tribe community, but that dish, but that's close to my heart.
So before any tribal war takes place,
Just one quick question, which I will probably ask Hoihnu and you, Chef, is there are certain dishes which become part of your regular party curation, right? So, an example would be dimsums, right? Whether you have continental Indian, Pan-Asian, you would probably have dim sum as a starter. But if you're looking at some curation element, in your mind, what should be one dish which we should probably pick up, which people would enjoy, right? So not something which is very odd in terms of the flavors or whatever. Something which can probably gel together well. People don't want to be very experimentative when it comes to pie.
So you want to name one dish or?
Couple of dishes, couple of suggestions rather.
I think there are a lot of people who understands pork as a meat, and then they respect beef also is one of good amount of people who consume beef also there. So few of the dishes definitely can be done. Akuni, I understand it's still has a very peculiar flavor.
It needs to come to
Yes. But bamboo, I think it is used in Thai cuisine, Southwest Asian cuisines. So that, of course, with pork goes very well. And then if you create it in a nice presentable format, goes well. Even when we did our festival at our hotel, it was well received. The flavors, people understand those flavors. It is not that it is very shocking for them and on the palate. So something like that, and the special stuff.
I remember there was a great starter in the Naga festival.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
With black sesame.
Pork with black sesame, right?
So we have in our menu, especially we have chakao kheer also. We don't call it chapad, which is a black rice.
Black rice pudding.
Yeah. So we use rice from Manipur. We get rice also.
So we have actually used black rice pudding in a lot of our events.
Yes.
And that was extremely well.
And it goes very well. Because our restaurant name is Kheer, and then we do a Kheer platter, and one of the Kheer is from the northeast. So there are, and Sinju is one of the salads which I love the most, which is from Manipur, and then that I think that also goes very well on the palate. Little spicy although, but I love it also.
Yeah, assorted seasonal vegetables. Yeah.
And what do you use, Steph, right now?
I'm very partial. I think there's nothing that can compensate the flavor of pork. And I think people are very open to the idea of having pork too. People are well traveled. So it's not so much like a taboo anymore. I won't say taboo, but it is still, there are lots of pork eaters. The only thing is that they don't want, they're concerned about the source of pork. Yeah. Pork is absolutely interesting. And I think the yum, RB that comes from Northeast, they can also take great menu for this thing. You just boil it, peel it, and then season it with, again, garlic, and that can fly around as a very good finger food. Yeah.
All right. Not for this podcast, but one question for you, Chef. What can we replace chole with in the chole bhature? So what would be the northeastern cuisine which I will pick up instead of a chole? When you're having a bhature, what can you eat with that?
I know.
And that will be the combination.
It's a very difficult question for me.
That's why I asked.
It's always the meat.
Millet, isn't it, Chef?
Millet, of course.
Baked millet and small millet cakes with chana. The butter. Really nice.
They don't use ghee also here.
No, but I'm saying bhature would stay the same.
Okay.
So instead of chole, what would you add?
So ghugni is very popular in that part of.
The chole and ghugni would be a great combination.
You'll find it.
Bhature and ghugni.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Sorry, not chole, but bhature and ghugni.
Yeah.
We'll have to try that out now.
Thank you so much. It was so enlightening to listen to you. And Chef, please continue building bridges with the northeastern part of our country, lovely part of the country, and wonderful, endowed in all ways by nature. Thank you for your time and being here. Hoihnu, all the best for your book projects, and more power to you and to your voice.